Incredible journey, Millionaire discovered hidden love after two poor kids returned his wallet. In the heart of Chicago, amidst the shimmering skyline where fortunes soared high, David sat alone in his opulent penthouse, gazing out over the city. It was a breathtaking view, yet he felt utterly empty inside. Over the years, he built a tech empire from the ground up, but all the wealth in the world meant nothing. His nights were lonely, filled with crystal wine glasses and the echoes of hollow laughter. Friends were few, and connections felt as thin as the city air. That evening, rain poured like tears from the heavens, creating a symphony of splashes against the pavement below. David stepped out, blissfully unaware that his wallet brimming with cash, credit cards, and a faded photograph of his late mother tumbled from his pocket, landing on the slick street without a sound. As he continued on, the wallet remained behind, glistening under the street lamps like a diamond lost in a coal mine. Meanwhile, Mia and Jake, two high school students from a nearby neighborhood entrenched in hardship, scavenged the street for recyclables to help their struggling family. They spotted the wallet, curiosity piquing their interest amidst the shimmering rain-soaked pavement. Inside, they found more money than they had ever seen. But greed did not grip their hearts. Instead, they recalled their family's principles of honor and community, deciding to return it. Guided by their unwavering morality, they ventured to David's sleek office building. The stark contrast between their worn sneakers and his polished surroundings felt like a chasm. As David answered the door, surprise flickered through his cold eyes, igniting a warmth from the encounter. The teens presented the wallet, and his heart skipped. A wave of nostalgia washed over him as he remembered his own youth, struggles, and the grounding love of his mother. A smile broke through the facade of the powerful businessman. For the first time in ages, he felt a genuine connection. They chatted about life, dreams, and the fears that clawed at their hearts. Mia's laughter echoed, and Jake's earnestness reminded David of everything he had buried beneath his corporate armor. An ember of hope flickered in his chest. Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. Days turned into weeks, and David's bond with Mia and Jake grew deeper. They inspired him to rethink his priorities, forging a connection that filled the void that once haunted him. He wrestled with a conflict, torn between the gilded lifestyle he built and the reality that surrounded the young duo. But just as things began to mend, disaster struck when Mia's father faced a medical emergency, and their small apartment teetered on the edge of eviction. The fear in their eyes shattered his heart while igniting something strong within him. Standing at the precipice of a decision, David stared at the walls of his lavish office. His mother's words flowed through him, lessons of humility and loyalty echoing as they once did long ago. The wealth he had amassed felt burdensome now, no longer a badge of honor but a wall keeping good people out. David knew he stood at a crossroads: risk it all to help Mia and Jake, or retreat back into the loneliness of success. The rain continued to pour outside, and so did the memories of a childhood filled with love, laughter, and community. Would he step up, boldly redefining what wealth truly meant, or would he remain shackled to the social prejudices of a life he no longer recognized? More than anything, he desired a home, not just a penthouse. The streets outside called to him. Would he answer? David took a deep breath, the cool air of the office mingling with the warmth of purpose blossoming in his chest. The sight of Mia and Jake lingered in his mind, their laughter cracking open the shell that had encased him for so long. They had returned his wallet, yes, but they had given him something far more valuable: a sense of belonging, of community. It was a feeling he thought he had lost forever. He grabbed his coat and headed down to his car, his heart pounding with urgency. As he drove through the rain-drenched streets, the world outside blurring past like memories rushing to the forefront of his mind, he thought of Mia's father. He needed help, and David was determined to provide it. The drive felt endless, with the bustling city around him rendered almost silent by the tumultuous emotions inside his heart. He reached their apartment complex, a tired building that stood like a survivor amongst the others. David parked and approached the entrance. The familiar sounds of laughter echoing within were muted by the weight of anxiety growing in his chest. Climbing the worn staircase, he knocked on their door. There was a gentle rustle inside before Mia opened it, surprise lighting up her face. She quickly glanced back, the unease visibly spiking her nervousness. "David. What brings you here?" He looked past her to see Jake, perched on the couch, a glimmer of hope in his eyes, yet overshadowed by uncertainty. "I came to check on you guys. I heard about your dad. How is he?" Mia stepped back and let him in, the warmth of their home enveloping him. "He's okay for now, but we're really worried. The bills are piling up. We don't know how much longer we'll make it." David's heart sank. He could feel the desperation clawing at their words. I want to help," he said, surprising himself. The instant his words settled in the small living room, he regretted not having said it sooner. "Help us?" Jake asked, his brow furrowed. "How?" "We can't accept charity, David." "It's not charity," David insisted, his voice firm yet gentle. "It's about family. It's what my mom taught me." Mia looked down, biting her lip as tears threatened to spill. "But what if it doesn't work out? What if you regret it?" He stepped closer, lowering his voice. "I regret a lot of things. But I won't regret reaching out to good people trying to do their best. You two remind me of myself at your age. I had dreams, struggles I still do." Jake exchanged glances with Mia, the heavy silence stretching between them. David saw the internal debate play out, but he knew vulnerability breeds connection. "Let me help cover your dad's medical bills," he continued, desperation curling in his gut at the thought of losing them to this hardship. Mia reached out, trembling fingers brushing against his arm. "You really mean that?" "Yes," he whispered. "You both mean something to me. I need you to trust me." In that moment, something shifted. Their bond deepened, and walls began to crumble. There was no longer just a wealthy man and two struggling kids. Instead, a family was forming, one built on respect and shared dreams. But as hope began to glow within them, a knock on the door shattered the fragile moment. The disruption felt sharp, like a clap of thunder after a sweet summer rain. "Who could that be?" Jake murmured, moving to open the door. David felt a chill run down his spine. The urgency peaked again, and dread settled in the pit of his stomach. What if this visit changed everything? What if it pulled the rug out from under them? With the door swinging open, the figure standing there cast a long shadow into their small living room. Who was it, and what news did they bring? The air thickened with tension as all eyes turned toward the entrance, wondering what would unfold next. Would they be able to handle whatever storm was about to walk through that door? The door creaked open, and a tall figure stepped inside, causing the light from the hallway to silhouette him. It took David a moment to recognize the man standing there, Mr. Hargrove, Mia's father's longtime co-worker. David could see the worry etched into the older man's face, deep lines carved from years of concern. "Jake." "Mia," he said, his voice heavy with the burden of unspoken news. David's heartbeat quickened. It didn't look good. "Mr. Hargrove, is everything all right?" Mia's face drained of color as she clutched Jake's arm tightly. She seemed paralyzed, anxiously absorbing the moment. Jake stepped forward, trying to muster up courage. "What brings you here?" Mr. Hargrove's eyes darted around the room before landing on David. "I need to talk to you all. It's about your dad. Things have gotten worse." There it was, the clarity of fear that hung in the air. David could almost feel everyone holding their breath, waiting for the storm to hit. "Worse? What does that mean?" Mia whispered, her voice a fragile thread. He hesitated, every moment stretching painfully. They're moving him to intensive care. The doctors found complications. His words tumbled out as if they were stones dropped into a well, sinking before they could reach the surface. Shock washed over Mia's face, and she turned away, her hands shaking. Jake looked at her, then back at Mr. Hargrove. "Is there anything we can do?" "It's complicated," Mr. Hargrove replied, his eyes somber. "But it's going to cost more than we feared. I came to see if there was any way we could scrape together something, anything to help with his bills." David's stomach knotted. He could feel the pain of their reality pressing down on him. Here he was, just offering help, and now it felt like he was standing in the middle of a broken glass alley. "I can help pay," he started, but the words felt inadequate. "No. No." Jake suddenly burst out, frustration lacing his voice. "We can't keep relying on your money, David. We need to find our way through this without dragging you into our mess." David felt the heat of Jake's anger, but it didn't deter him. "We're friends. Friends help each other. Family," Mia whispered, her voice breaking. She turned to David, tears welling in her eyes. "You're offering us so much. But what if we're a burden?" David reached out, gently taking her hands. "It doesn't feel like that to me. It feels like hope." "But what if hope isn't enough?" she asked, her heart laid bare. It was a question that echoed loudly. Jake looked between them, uncertain, the brotherly instinct to protect his sister colliding against the hope David brought. Mr. Hargrove cleared his throat, drawing their attention back to him. "I know it's a lot to ask. But every bit helps. Your father would do the same for you." The room filled with a suffocating silence, the weight of their situation pressing upon them like a heavy cloud. A fresh determination filled David as he pulled back. "Together, we can figure this out. Let us talk numbers. Let us be practical." Mia slowly nodded, wiping her tears. There was a flicker of acceptance, even gratitude in her eyes as she looked at David. Just then, another knock echoed through the apartment. David glanced at the door, unease creeping back in. "What now?" he thought. Jake moved slowly to answer it, and with one hand on the doorknob, he shot David a look that was equal parts hope and fear. "What if it's more bad news?" Jake whispered, his heart racing. And as the door opened once again, the atmosphere shifted. What or who could possibly come through that threshold? Would they bring more turmoil or a spark of salvation? There was only one way to find out. As the door swung open, a gust of chilled air rushed in, causing everyone to shiver slightly. Standing there was a woman, perhaps in her late 40s, with striking auburn hair twisted into a loose bun. Her warm eyes surveyed the room, landing on Mr. Hargrove with a flicker of recognition. "Lisa," Mr. Hargrove said, his tone unexpectedly soft. "Roger." Her voice flowed like a gentle stream, but there was a sharpness to her gaze that hinted at urgency. She took a step forward, glancing over at Jake and Mia, her expression quickly shifting to concern. "What is going on?" "I heard the news." Mia gasped softly, her hands falling to her sides as she regarded the woman who had cared for her father during his early days at the hospital. "You're here." The atmosphere thickened, the tension palpable as they sensed shifting dynamics. Lisa turned to Mia, placing a hand on her shoulder. "I couldn't just sit back. I can help." David watched in a sort of confusion. Who was this woman, and how did she think she could help when everything felt so dark? But there was something about her presence and unyielding strength, perhaps that spurred a glimmer of hope within him. "Help? How?" Jake asked, skepticism curling his brow. Her eyes caught on David, a hint of recognition sparking in them. "I've been following your father's case ever since I found out he was in trouble. I can work with the hospital to find ways to reduce costs. Maybe even help negotiate the bills. I'm a financial advisor." "Wait, you knew my dad?" David exclaimed, his curiosity piqued. Memories from when he was a kid swirled in his mind, his father coming home with smiles from his important meetings. "I did," Lisa replied, nodding. "His kindness extended beyond his work. He inspired me, and I'd like to return that favor." Mia blinked, the weight lifting slightly from her chest. "But can you really help?" A soft smile crept across Lisa's face. "I can try. You never know who is willing to get involved until you ask." The warmth of her words wrapped around them like a thin blanket, creating a fragile cocoon of hope. David felt a rush of emotions. Maybe they weren't alone in this struggle after all. But uncertainty still loomed. How much could she really do? Just then, the phone rang, slicing through the moment like a knife. David jumped, instinctively moving toward the kitchen where the sound seemed to pulse. "That's my dad's hospital," he murmured, about to answer when Jake put a hand on his arm. "Wait. What if it's more bad news?" A knot twisted in David's stomach. How could they handle worse than what they already faced? With a shaky breath, he turned to Lisa. "Can you stay just in case we need to talk?" "Of course," she said, settling onto the couch, her demeanor both calming and reassuring. With renewed resolve, David picked up the phone. "Hello." The voice on the other end was firm but sympathetic. "Mr. Thompson, this is Dr. Reynolds from the hospital. I have an update on your father's condition." Each word felt like a heartbeat, thumping louder as David braced himself for the revelations to come. Mia held her breath, while Jake exchanged nervous glances with Lisa. Would it be good news, or would it be the breaking point they feared? The phone call promised to unravel either hope or despair, and as David listened, the quiet of the room became deafening. "Is he stable? Can we do anything?" As the words hung, the fragile line of their future teetered dangerously close to either side. What would they hear next? Would hope emerge from the shadows, or would fear cast an enduring shadow over their plans? "David?" Dr. Reynolds' voice was calm but clipped, an unexpected blend of warmth and professionalism. "I'm afraid your father is in critical condition right now. He is stable, but we're facing some serious complications. I wanted to speak to you about options moving forward." David felt his heart sink. Stable but facing complications. What did that even mean? He could hardly process the weight of those words. He turned slightly, glancing over his shoulder at Mia, whose face was a mirror of his own confusion and fear. Jake's expression was unreadable, tension radiating from him as he watched David's every reaction. "Options?" David repeated, hoping to catch some hint of good news. "What kind of options?" "Well, we're considering a transfer to a specialized unit where he can receive more intensive care. It'll help us better manage his condition and provide the support he needs, but there are financial implications." David could feel the breath hitch in his throat. Financial implications. The words clawed at him, dragging him back into the harsh reality they were battling. He wanted to scream, to tell the doctor to focus on saving his father, not on costs. But he couldn't. He couldn't let despair take hold now. "Please, just do whatever you need to do," David said, frustration clawing at his words. "We'll find a way, we'll manage." Mia had stepped closer, her eyes wide and glistening. She wrapped an arm around David's waist, as if anchoring him amidst the storm. "I'll need you to get some paperwork for admission," Dr. Reynolds continued, "but it shouldn't take long. You can handle that with our administration team, and I'll be here to guide them through it. We'll work together on this." Just as David hung up, a wave of disbelief washed over him. The reality of the situation was overwhelming. In the background, he could sense the weight pressing on everyone else in the room too. Lisa shifted on the couch, her eyes meeting David's. "What did he say?" "He is stable for now," David replied, his voice barely a whisper. "They want to transfer him to a specialized unit." But he paused, swallowing hard as the thought of finances seeped back into the conversation. "There's gonna be more costs, and I don't know how we're going to handle that." Mia squeezed him tighter, but it didn't alleviate the sinking feeling in his chest. The dark clouds threatening to sweep them away loomed larger than before. Lisa rose, her posture firm and determined. Listen, maybe I can work on the financial aspect while you talk to the hospital. I know negotiations, I can help. Maybe we can reach out to the community for support or explore charitable options. David looked at her, uncertainty weighing heavy on his brow. You'd really do that for us? But. No hesitation, she interrupted with a smile that felt like a warm light cutting through the gloom. I believe in your father, and I believe in you all. Let us rally people together. You're not alone in this. A flicker of hope danced in the room, fueled by her words. Maybe this was their moment to pull together and fight back against the shadows creeping in. But the storm wasn't over yet. Just as David began to feel a spark of possibilities, Jake spoke up, his voice heavy with something David couldn't quite place. I have some contacts. They might help with fundraising too. The flickering candle of hope started to grow, growing brighter with every mention of connection. Maybe they could band together, fight this battle hand in hand. Just then, the doorbell rang again, its sound sharp and sudden against the quiet air of the room. David's heart skipped. Who else could it be? He glanced at Lisa, whose eyebrows raised in curiosity. Should we check? Mia asked, her voice barely above a whisper. David nodded, moving toward the door with hesitance. With each step, an unsettling mixture of anticipation and dread surged within him. As he opened the door, the sight before him would alter the course of the evening entirely. He blinked, trying to comprehend the figure standing at the threshold. Standing there was a familiar face from the past, a face he hadn't expected to see again. A face that could bring both relief and chaos into their lives. David, the stranger said, and all the air rushed from the room. David's heart raced as he took in the figure at the door. Jake stepped forward, eyes narrowing in disbelief. Tom. Is that really you? Hey, man, Tom replied, the corners of his mouth twitching into a tentative smile. Long time no see. David hesitated, memories flooding back. Tom was the kid from the neighborhood, the one who had split the last slice of pizza with him during summer nights and had also been at his side during the most awkward school dances. But that was years ago, before life had taken them in different directions. Tom had moved away after his father lost his job, and suddenly, he didn't belong to their world anymore. What are you doing here? David managed to ask, his voice barely above a whisper. I heard about your dad. I came to see if you were all right, Tom said quietly. The earnestness in his tone struck a chord deep within David. We're doing everything we can, David replied, the weight of the situation still looming over him. It's just hard. Mia stepped up beside David, her hand resting on his arm. It's really good to see you, Tom, but how did you find out? I still have some friends around here, Tom said, glancing toward Jake and Lisa, who were now watching with a mixture of curiosity and wariness. Word travels fast when it's bad news. I came to offer some support. Before David could respond, Tom continued, I brought some things to help get the ball rolling. I thought maybe we could do a fundraiser. A flicker of disbelief crossed David's face. A fundraiser? You don't have to, but even as he said it, he felt a flicker of gratitude rising within him. You don't know until you try, right? Tom said, his eyes gleaming with determination. We used to be good at getting things done together. I still have connections, and I think I can get some businesses on board. They might help us rally some support. David's emotions twisted together, hope and fear thrumming in his chest. What if this really could work? What if the community would come together for his dad? They had grown up learning to fight against the odds. It felt like Tom was the missing piece they needed. Okay, David exhaled, let us try it. An overwhelming sense of belief threaded through the room. Jake stepped closer, ready to pitch in. I can help organize. I know how these things work. My dad, used to the warmth in the room, began to bloom, wrapping around them like a cable-knit blanket. Hope stirred, gaining momentum. Just as plans and ideas began to circle in the air, the mood shifted. A siren wailed in the distance, a stark reminder of the reality pushing in around them. Pressure weighed on David's chest. His father was still fighting for his life while they planned a fundraiser. Would it even be enough? This is going to take time, Mia cautioned, her voice dropping slightly. We need to make sure it's all organized and effective, but we can do this. As they talked, the weight of their past, the sadness of their present, and the hope for their future hung in the air together. David found himself caught between excitement for the new plan and the dark skill of uncertainty. Just when he felt the spark of motivation kindle inside him, it flickered again. Guys, Jake said, glancing at the door, there is something else we need to address. David's gaze shot toward him. What do you mean? Jake hesitated. What if this doesn't go as we hope? What if we can't raise enough funds? The question hung in the air, heavy with potential despair. David stared at Jake, the nerves creeping in again. He could feel the uncertainty wrap around him like a shadow. As if answering Jake's unspoken fears, David heard the siren grow louder, a ghostly reminder of time pressing down on them. They didn't have the luxury of time. What's the worst that could happen? Tom suggested, but David could see the doubt hidden in Tom's eyes. Taking a breath, David faced them, determination igniting in his heart. Let us not think about that now. We've got to make this happen. For my dad. With the team firming up plans around him, David steeled his resolve. And just as he felt a spark of confidence emerge, a shadow flitted across his thoughts. The last time they had gathered like this, something had torn them apart. As their voices grew louder with ideas, David heard another sound. The hospital phone rang in the background, an unwelcome reminder blaring through the noise. Who would be on the other end this time? He felt the weight of the moment press down hard. Maybe it's the doctor, Mia said, hope tangled with worry. David's heart raced. Could this be an update on his father? Or more bad news? Will it be bad news again? David thought, and as the phone rang on, the answers lay just out of grasp. The phone's shrill ring sliced through David's swirling thoughts like a knife. Each tone echoed against the walls, a piercing reminder of everything weighing down on him. His pulse quickened, he lost himself in a spiral of dread and dread alone. What if it's not good? David's mind raced. Maybe it was a mistake to think they could overcome this. He felt the walls of possibility close in, tightening around him like a vice. Mia's hand squeezed his arm. David, don't think like that, she warned softly, but even her voice trembled like a thin thread ready to snap. Tom stepped back, his expression shifting from hope to concern. Maybe I should answer it. Just in case, but David couldn't let anyone else bear that burden. He was stuck in a loop of fear, pushing against every inch of it. David stepped to the phone, hands shaking as he picked up the receiver. The world around him faded as he pressed it to his ear. He could almost hear his heart thumping as if it were announcing his fate. Hello. The voice on the other end was steady but grave. It was Dr. Martinez. Is this David? His throat tightened. Yes, it is. I'm calling regarding your father, Mr. Mitchell. Each word felt like a hammer against glass. I hope you can come to the hospital. We need to discuss his condition. David's heart dropped. How is he? It's vital that we speak in person. A cold wave of panic washed over him, thoughts colliding. Just a moment ago, there had been laughter, ideas, excitement, but now. The laughter pressed quiet. He cleared his throat, forcing himself to hold on to hope. Okay. I'll be there as soon as I can. Take your time, but hurry. The line fell dead, and David slowly set the phone back down. His teammates looked up, their expressions a mix of expectation and fear, as if each of their futures hung in the balance of what he'd say next. I need to go to the hospital, he announced, his voice taut but determined. They want to discuss Dad's condition. The room fell silent. Mia's eyes widened, her hand dropping from David's arm. What did they say? Is it bad? He swallowed hard, feeling the weight of their gazes. I don't know, but I need to see him. Tom stepped forward, placing a hand on David's shoulder. We'll go with you. All of us. You shouldn't have to face this alone. The surge of support sent warmth through David's chest. He nodded, drawing strength from his friends encircling him. They were more than just childhood pals now, they were a lifeline to each other in this storm. I'll drive. Jake volunteered before David could even think. In minutes, they poured into Jake's car, an anxious energy pooling in the cramped space. Traffic blurred past, the city morphing into a chaotic whirl. Each stoplight felt like an eternity. David could barely breathe, anxiety wrapping around him. What if he doesn't make it? He thought bitterly, wrestling with those haunting questions again. But the thought of losing his father made his stomach twist. Hey, have a little faith, all right? Mia's voice broke through, a gentle reminder that amongst the heaviness, they were still fighting. He's a fighter, just like you. David nodded, but deep down, doubts twisted like knotted strings in his mind. Finally, they arrived, and as they rushed through the hospital's sterile hallways, every step felt as though it was leading him closer to an answer, good or bad. When they reached his father's room, David hesitated, his hand hovering over the doorknob. What if he couldn't handle what he would find inside? David, Tom said, his voice soft yet firm. You've got this. Taking a deep breath, he pushed open the door. The sight inside took his breath away. His father lay there, frail and pale, tangled in wires and beeping machines. In that moment, a new wave of fear washed over him, darker and deeper than before. Dad? He whispered, stepping closer, absolutely unprepared to hear what was next. And just as he reached out, he felt an unmistakable shift in the air, a flicker of uncertainty mingling with the dim light. What was happening? What was he about to learn that would change everything? David? His father's voice came weakly, but there was a flicker of recognition in his eyes, a light that made David's heart leap with hope even amidst the chaos of the machines. David rushed to his side, barely holding back the swell of emotions that threatened to overflow. Hey, Dad! He fought to keep his voice steady, but it cracked, betraying the storm unfolding inside him. It's me. I'm here. His father looked smaller than David remembered, the man who once seemed so invincible now a shadow of himself. The familiar warmth of his father's presence felt distant, and it scared David more than anything else. Did they say anything? David whispered, fearing the answer but needing to know. His father closed his eyes for a moment, as if gathering energy. David, it's complicated. His voice was barely more than a rasp. The creased lines of his face deepened further, etched by both worry and age. I wish you didn't have to see me like this. David's chest tightened. But I want to be here to help. What do they say? Just then, Dr. Martinez entered the room, his usual composure masking the weight of the news he bore. He offered a nod to David before swiftly turning his attention to his father. Mr. Mitchell, the doctor began, his tone serious yet gentle. We need to discuss your treatment and the results from the tests we ran. It's crucial for the path ahead. David's heart sank as he felt the tension in the air grow thicker, and his gaze darted between his father and the doctor. This was the moment he had been dreading. Is it bad? David felt his voice barely escape his lips. It hung mid-air, pulling everyone's attention. Dr. Martinez exchanged a glance with his father, a moment of silent understanding that sent a chill down David's spine. We found something in the tests. It's concerning. I knew it, David murmured, the weight of it felt suffocating. What does that mean? What are the options? His father inhaled slowly, as if just saying those words took effort. It means I have some choices to make. But I want you to understand, whatever happens, I'm still fighting. You know me. The sorrow flooded David's heart, conflicting with an overwhelming need to protect the man who always fought for him. But, Dad, we can face this together. You're not alone. We're all here. Just then, Mia's hand found his, grounding him with her warmth. Yeah, David is right. Whatever you choose, we've got your back. The strength in her voice was laced with unyielding hope. Dr. Martinez nodded, the faintest hint of a smile breaking through his seriousness. That's crucial. Support systems are everything in times like these. We have treatments available that can prolong and improve the quality of life. But in that instant, the weight of the situation pressed down on David. What if his father's fight meant giving up his own dreams? This thought pulled at his heart, twisting it painfully. Will you? David hesitated, searching for the right words. Will you be able to cheer at my games again? To see me graduate? His father's eyes sparkled slightly. If it means seeing you reach those milestones, I will do everything I can, son. The determination was there, but tinged with uncertainty. As David fought back tears, the emotions warred within him. Anger, fear, love, each was so vivid, like a palette of paint spilling uncontrollably. He thought of the laughter and memories yet to be made, of all the moments he wanted to create with his father. Just then, the machines around them beeped nervously, a stark reminder of the fragility of life. David squeezed his father's hand tightly as the reality of the situation began to sink in deep. Let us focus on today, his father said, pulling David's attention back to him. Let us make some memories. With all of you here, I feel stronger already. David's heart sank just a little less. He knew it would be a long road ahead, filled with uncertainty and choices that would shape their lives. But he felt the fire of their bond. Okay, Dad. Together, we'll take it one day at a time, he promised, the weight of resolve settling deep. And just as the moment seemed to breathe with a fragile hope, a nurse rushed into the room, her face pale, urgency radiating from her. Doctor, we have a situation in another room. We need you now. The room shifted abruptly, and the flickering hope faltered. What had happened? Would this moment of connection slip away into another storm? David could only watch as Dr. Martinez moved to leave, a knot tightening in his stomach. But just before he exited, the doctor turned back to David. Stay close. You'll need each other more than ever. He took a deep breath. The path ahead was uncertain, but deep down, David realized they were in this together. Every moment would matter now. The waiting game had just begun. David's heart thumped heavily in his chest as Dr. Martinez stepped out, leaving him with an unsettling blend of hope and despair. He glanced at his father, who wore an expression that was both weary and fierce. It was a look of a man ready to fight, yet simultaneously worn down by the reality of his illness. What did she mean by a situation? David asked, his voice barely above a whisper. The anxiety clawed at him, knotting his stomach tighter. What if it's something serious? His father's brow furrowed, a flicker of concern flashing across his eyes before he regained composure. I'm not sure. But remember, we can't let fear control us. Mia squeezed David's hand, offering silent support as they navigated the uncharted waters of this new fear together. We'll stay positive, she said, her voice steady. Let us focus on our time with your dad. David nodded, but the shadow of uncertainty loomed larger. What if this truly was one moment of connection before everything changed? Okay, he exhorted himself, let us create some memories. Tell me about your game next week, his father prompted, a small smile breaking through as he leaned back into the hospital bed. A spark of enthusiasm ignited within David. Oh. We worked on a new play at practice. It's pretty cool. I even got to be the quarterback. His voice lifted as he shared the details of the team's progress, each word rushing out as excitement replaced some of the tension. "That's my boy," his father said, his eyes lighting up. "I can't wait to watch you shine." As they talked, the nurse returned, this time with a colleague in tow. They seemed focused and serious, and the heaviness in the air morphing into something tangible. David's throat tightened with unease. "What's happening?" he asked, his voice stronger this time. The nurse looked between David and his father. "We need to take Mr. Mitchell for another scan. There have been changes, and Dr. Martinez needs to reassess." David's heart sank again. "Now?" "Yes, we need to act quickly." The urgency in her voice sent ripples of fear through David, each word striking like a drumbeat in the stillness. "Dad," David's voice cracked. He felt a rush of emotions blurring his vision, bitterness and rage at the uncertainty that loomed ahead. "Hey," his father said, a touch of firmness in his tone. "I'll be right here. Just stay close, all right?" The power of his father's words rallied David, grounding him like a sturdy anchor in a turbulent sea. "Okay," he whispered, choking down the lump in his throat. As they wheeled his father away, Mia stepped closer, wrapping her arms around David. He felt the warmth of her presence, yet a cold dread settled in the pit of his stomach. "Do you think?" he started, but the question hung unspoken, thick with fear. "I don't know," Mia replied softly, pulling back just enough to look him in the eyes. "But we will handle whatever comes together." David nodded, squeezing her hand tightly, willing himself to believe in that strength. But as the doors swung shut behind the medical team, he couldn't shake the fear that something irreversible was about to happen. Minutes turned into an eternity as they waited, every second drenched in anxiety. David's mind raced, evolving with worst-case scenarios while alternating with memories of laughter and encouragement from his father. Suddenly, the door swung open, unveiling Dr. Martinez, his face serious but not devoid of hope. David's breath hitched in his chest. This was the moment. Whatever news the doctor carried could change everything. "David," Dr. Martinez began, his voice steady and calm amidst the turmoil. "We need to talk." In that split second, David's whole world seemed to hang in the balance. What would the doctor say? Would it be good or something he couldn't even begin to prepare for? His heart raced, and he felt Mia's presence as a tether. The waiting was over or, perhaps, it was just beginning. What was the truth that lay ahead? "David," Dr. Martinez said, his serious tone sending a jolt of tension through the room. "We need to discuss your father's condition and the next steps." David held his breath, the air feeling heavy and thick. He exchanged a glance with Mia, who nodded reassuringly, her hand still entwined with his. Jake leaned forward, a raw intensity in his eyes, while Tom stood back, sensing the weight of the moment. Is he going to be okay?" David managed to ask, fear lacing his voice. Dr. Martinez took a deep breath. "Your father is stable, but the tests revealed complications, fluid buildup around his lungs. We can manage this with medication and potential therapies, but his recovery will require time and support." As the word settled, David felt a sliver of relief, mixed with the reality of how daunting the road ahead would be. "So, there's hope." "Yes, but it's going to be a long journey," Dr. Martinez explained. "We're looking at some treatment options that may prolong his life significantly, but there will be further decisions to make moving forward." Emotions rolled like tidal waves within David, relief battling anxiety. "What do we do now?" he asked, the fight to remain strong washing over him. "Let's set up a treatment plan. In the meantime, you can help create an environment of positivity and support. It matters more than you realize. And I'll be in touch to update you as we go," Dr. Martinez replied, a hint of encouragement in his tone. Mia squeezed David's hand tighter, grounding him as he absorbed everything Dr. Martinez revealed. Hope flickered back to life. "Together we can do this," David said, lifting his chin. "We'll make sure he gets all the support he needs." As the doctor turned to leave, a thought crossed David's mind. "Can we do a fundraiser?" he blurted out, realizing this was connected to the fight ahead. I think our community would want to help. Absolutely, Dr. Martinez replied, confirming the idea. If you reach out to local businesses, they can often provide support. Getting involved can make a difference in both funding and morale. The moment hung in the air, a sliver of a plan shaping in the midst of uncertainty. David turned to Jake, Mia, and Tom. Who's with me? They exchanged resolute nods. I'm in. Jake exclaimed, determination bubbling up as he took a step forward. Whatever it takes. We'll make this happen, Mia added, her voice steady with conviction. I'll reach out to my connections, Tom said, excitement weaving through the nervous energy. Let us get this thing started. And just like that, a newfound vigor swept through the room. David felt an unexpected spark ignite within him. For the first time in a long while, he felt himself move away from the shadow of despair and step into the light of possibility. Days quickly turned into weeks as they organized the fundraiser, rallying an outpouring of support from nearby businesses and friends. They put together a community event, a bake sale, a car wash, and even a small charity concert. Every penny brought in was focused on supporting his father's treatments. The day finally arrived, and as David stood in front of a bustling crowd, watching strangers come together to support their shared cause, joy bubbled up within him. Laughter floated in the air, a sense of unity tangible and strong. Mia stood beside him, her smile radiant. Look at how many people care, David. This is amazing. As the speeches began, David felt the weight of gratitude wash over him. He thanked everyone for their love and support, knowing how much their kindness meant not just for his dad, but for him too. He spoke about community, about hope, and how he learned that family transcends biology. It's about the connections you forge. Hours later, the air buzzed with excitement and camaraderie, and as the donations piled up, David knew they were one step closer to securing his father's treatment. His heart brimmed with joy. Every effort, every windfall was infused with love and unity. The next day, he sat at his father's bedside, where hope intertwined with reality, laughter mingling with tears. Dad, you're going to make it, he affirmed, meeting his father's gaze squarely, feeling the connection strengthen. I know you all are here for me. It makes me want to fight harder, his dad replied, signaling a shift in their bond, deeper than it had ever been. With Mia, Jake, Tom, and Lisa rallying around them, they faced the future unflinchingly. In this fragile state, he realized love was stronger than fear. Together, they had woven a fabric of hope that would hold them through anything. And in that moment, a sense of triumph surged through David. Wealth was never about money, it was about connection, community, and the spirit to fight for one another. With a heart full of gratitude, he whispered, "We're family now. We'll get through this, together." As the days turned into months, David learned to redefine what it meant to truly live, surrounded by love and resilience. He transformed, filled with purpose only life's storms could unveil. They took it day by day, each moment crafted into a precious memory, and the laughter of Mia, Jake, and Tom echoed endlessly in the corners of their lives. This was their journey, a path carved by heartache but painted with love. And as their story unfolded into something beautiful, a symphony of hope and connection, David realized, this was just the beginning. For more inspiring stories, you need to subscribe immediately to ensure you don't miss any exclusive updates. Leave a like now to help boost the algorithm and reach more hearts. Comment below and share your own thoughts and feelings about this journey. And don't wait not even one more second to share this video with at least 5 friends who might need to see this incredible transformation. You truly understand the power of support.